experiential learning. And according to a survey from 2011, 75% schools in India still lacked a decent practical laboratory, and this is from 2011. So this is actually a staggering figure: 75% schools lacking a decent practical laboratory. And so I started to address this challenge at its core, and then we launched this in 2021. We launched this new program of decentralized STEM exploratory, where we created a three-phase pedagogy and started sending out kits of these three phases to schools, and conducting live workshops, and then sending some recorded videos, and doing all this. And the three-phase pedagogy is what makes us unique. Firstly, it's about bridging that gap between privileged and the underprivileged. So the underprivileged have lacked total access to practical education, while the privileged have had lab experience, right? So giving them the access to the conventional science experiments that you'll find in a textbook. That's phase one. Giving them hands-on experience to the totally existing experiments. Phase two is about unconventional experiments, which are not necessarily totally different, but which have a unique perspective of looking at that it's particular experiments, because uh, in science, it's not only the experiment, but also the perspective of looking at the normal experiments. You know, Paul Dirac, he was solving this equation, and he got a negative answer, positive answer to something that should have been negative. I really don't remember. I think it was positive to something that should have been negative, or negative to something that should have been positive. So instead of maybe refuting that he might have committed a mistake or something like that, he thought that there might be another possibility to that, and that's how he simply invented a positron. Not invented a positron, and then it was actually discovered later on at Caltech. So it's about the perspective of looking at that. He had another perspective, and he said that okay, maybe my answer is not wrong, but maybe there exists an electron with a positive charge, and that's what a positron is.
So you want students to look at another perspective of looking at something so that they can have a positive outcome, right? That's exactly what it is.
Yeah, and the
Okay.
third thing is about mini research projects. So giving them actual exposure, hands-on exposure to research by giving them a problem statement, allowing them to conduct experiments, deriving conclusions of those experiments, and summarizing it all. So these are the three
Yeah.
phases: conventional, unconventional, and a mini research project.
Awesome. I mean, to go through all these three stages takes time, right? I mean, you obviously started at the age of 14. I mean, what systems do you have in place? Do you have people assisting you? I mean, how does all this work, right? I mean, I mean, you talk about practical innovation and whatnot. And for this, you need a lot of equipment, a lot of assistance. I mean, so how do you manage all these?
Not really. It's a cliched view that you need a lot of equipment. You really don't need equipment. You can, uh, you know, the movie Martial. What was the name? Mission Mangal. So there's this
Uh,
part where uh, they talk about there is no difference in home science and rocket science. Well, there isn't, because you can derive a lot of concepts of science from home science. You can construct this. So there's this we have this very popular experiment at Project Gyan, which all the students always love, and the one that we like to talk about the most because of how simple it is. So you on Diwali, you have this firecracker known as sap or snake, and then when you light it, it burns with releases snakes and a lot of smoke. You can create that at home using simply three things: sand, sugar, and baking soda. And then as you light it, you'll see the black snakes emerge out of it. And the point is that it's all at home. And then now here where it comes to the perspective. So anyone can, kind of go on about the reaction, tease them the reaction of this, but we went at it from another perspective. We uh, we arranged this whole thing into a circular pattern. So you would take sand, and then in the middle you would create a crater or a depression, a circular crater, and then in that you would put the mixture of sugar and baking soda, and then you sprinkle a little bit of camphor on top of it. Okay, all the three things are available at home: camphor, sugar, and baking soda. And then once you light it, you'll see that the black snakes emerge from the periphery of this circle. And the
Sure.
point in through this another perspective, we taught them, we proved in fact the diagram of a flame, that the outermost region of a flame is the hottest. That's because it has the most access to oxygen. And even in this case, you could see that it started from the periphery and then went into the middle because the temperature was more at the periphery. So there was a greater rate of reaction, and then you could see carbon emerging, carbon as the black snakes emerging really, really quickly. So
Wow.
yeah, perspective.
Wow. That's really nice.